On this episode of Project Race Car, after missing the Wakefield 300, we point at a whiteboard, waterboard a radiator, and get a new exhaust. Getting the car ready in time for Wakefield may have been a little too ambitious, but we'd already set our sights on a new goal. So we're a month and a half out from the Sydney 300.
Entry went in yesterday.
We've got a bit of work that we need to do to get the car up to spec. We're pretty comfortable with the amount of time we've got to do it. We've already started purchasing parts and things like that. So let's have a look at what we need to do. Exhaust system, so there's a couple of reasons for that. First, we need to put an upgraded set of extractors, headers in, which should give us a little bit of a power boost, but also if we want to race at racetracks that may have sound restrictions or something, currently we're a bit too loud, so this will remedy that.
We think we're a bit too loud.
We think we're a bit too loud. Next is the air intake, so again this is a performance thing. We want a bit more power from the car. Theoretically this should give it to us. Fuel system, so to essentially the way we're strategizing for the 300 at Sydney Motorsport Park is we don't want to have to fuel during our mandatory pit stop. We're running a small team, we don't want to have to run a pit crew particularly, so we're putting in an extra fuel tank that's going to be gravity fed to the main tank, and it's going to give us roughly 80
give us the length of the
or
race,
so litres,
yeah.
which is going to give us the length of the race.
The reason for doing that as well is it's cheaper to get hold of a fuel tank and build the firewall system, which we'll be building to regs. We've got all the things on the ground here to be able to size up our own, than it is to try to go and get a fuel rig, be able to get the fuel into the vehicle, have somebody do it, all of those things, and risk yourself a penalty if you drop any on the ground.
A single drop of fuel on the ground and it's like a 5-lap penalty.
Exactly.
Or something like that. So we
there's a lot to think about that. We thought, well, we can take away all the risk and we can take away all the drama if we just do this, and we can do this in the workshop in a confined space, controlled space. So
absolutely,
we'll make it happen. Then we've got to get onto the radios. Now we've had a chat to the guys from MWM and they're going to come and help us out with some radio information.
They're gurus when it comes to radio communications for race cars. So we're going to have a chat with them. It's going to be really, really informative, I think. So the radiator we're replacing, we're going back to a stock standard radiator rather than the alloy one that we had in, mainly for ease of parts. It's going to be a lot easier to source a standard radiator.
Well, a new radiator costs what, $50?
$50.
Yeah.
So we had to redo the overflow bottle as well. That took a hit at our last track day when we were doing the licenses because we pushed a little bit hard on the tyres. May have delaminated and taken out the radiator overflow. So that was a necessity, but also it needed to be done. We needed to flush out the cooling system. So we're getting onto that. That'll probably be the first thing we knock over. And then the battery isolator is the last thing that we need for the race. So that's just the ripcord in case we beach ourselves.
Yep.
You've just thought of something else.
I just thought of something that I need to put on the list, and that is block the firewall. Because we know, we know from a few of the guys at last year's 300, if you get stuck behind a car, you'll start getting fumes through the holes in the firewall.
That being said, we do have the dual window ducts that should theoretically mitigate that, but I think blocking up the firewall is definitely going to be
it's just a bit of tape, just helps make sure that we're doing that.
And then we've got a couple of optional extras that we can do if we've got the time, and that's a pump-operated drink bottle, which I think is probably on the verge of being a necessity.
A drink bottle we'll have a drink bottle in there, or a Camelback or something. Yeah. It's the question of whether we can actually fit up a pump-operated one. Yeah. Because when you're in the middle of the race, a lot of the guys we've spoken to them about, we found on our track day as well, you sort of forget to drink
hands on the wheel. You don't want to have to
exactly. So you sort of forget that a little bit, and then we're going to try to do the brake boost delete, which is just an option that the APRA guys do. They find that it makes the car a little bit more stable under braking. Not something we need to have. It would in fact take away from the car for production car specifications by doing the brake boost delete. So there's options on either side,
and theoretically it should improve the performance under brakes of the car. But that being said, we're pretty used to this car with the brake booster in, so it could actually be a bit of a negative there. So that's why it's on the optional list, and we'll see how we go with time.
Yeah. If we got time before a track day, we'll do it. If we don't, we won't. We'll just play
Absolutely.
with what we've got. But that's our list. We've got to get through it. We've got 6-7 weeks. We want to try to fit in a track day or maybe 2, just to get some practice in with talking on radios, pulling each other in. But we'll go through all of that as the episode develops. So let's get cracking.
Get stuck into it. Take these hoses off after the fact. That's right. That water is very brown. Something similar.
Get it! Get it!
There we go. Alright, so we just picked up a custom exhaust and header system for the Pulsar. So the one that was in there, a little bit rusty, a little bit old, and this one should allow us to compete at tracks that have noise limitations, but it should also help with performance. So we're just going to unpackage it, have a look at it before we start putting it all together. Good work, Dan. That's a great start to it. This should theoretically be bolt in, so.
Yep.
It's welded, isn't it?
No, we got the mount.
Oh no, it's all mounted properly.
Oh, this,
See where the pipe comes?
it's cracking.
See where the pipe comes out? There's a mount there that looked a bit.
This one that's just been bolted to the roll cage.
Yeah, that's this one here, I think.
No, I think it comes out here. Follows that point through there.
Cool.
I'd say it follows the channel to here and then goes
And
out
then
there.
it goes out there. Alright.
But we won't know exactly where it comes till you mount the headers in.
I mean, theoretically, we should get a bit of a power boost with the headers. Out some gaskets. There's the headers. Nice. Nice. Look at that.
How heavy is it?
That's not heavy at all. You can also see, I don't know if you can see on the camera, how much quieter this one's going to be with a resonator and a muffler on it, as opposed to this tiny little thing. What are you doing? Start to take this apart, so I'm going to need your hand to actually take these ones out because they got captions. That is the exhaust system out. Alright.
Starting her up.
Don't know where this bolts onto. So we're going to have to put this on last. Yeah,
I'd say.
but it's a bit bigger than that.
Or use this bolt here.
Maybe that's the one you're supposed to use. No, because it's got to be back here. It comes out here.
You sure?
Yeah, because it follows this. It follows this channel.
Tell you what, this job's been exhausting.
I said that yesterday and no one laughed. No one laughed.
That's because you're shit.
You're all humorless. No, gonna have to come up from the bottom on this.
Official light holder of Project Race Car. Oh, don't scratch it. Probably coming down to you will be easier.
I tried that just before, but I didn't think it might work. Let's
you need to try that. On an angle, yeah. I think the fan's going to get in the way for us each time.
We might just have to pull the fan out.
I sits.
Alright, just be careful.
Yeah, she's good. She's good.
Alright, got it through.
Yep.
That it?
Yep. There you go. Sick. I did a bit.
Go team!
Ooh, okay. What? There's nothing in there. Oh, get your finger in there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, lubed up. Oh, look at that.
See, lucky me, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Gasket in there. Have you done this before? No. What do you reckon we leave it with that much of a gap and just tell everyone we did the job?
Yeah.
Like, no.
And it's just...
I don't know why our exhaust is loud.
I don't understand what you were trying to say. I thought you were taking the piss.
I'm just trying to give you learning experiences, alright? Exhaust. Oh shit, sorry.
Do a really bad dub over that. Because you're in the background out of focus.
Exhaust. It's literally bent lower. We're gonna have to like pull it up to get it to where we need to go. I don't think it's meant to be hard up against there.
Well, I don't know how we change that.
No, I know. But
There's...
to me, it seems like the bend is about 10 mil too early. So it must need to go up here somewhere.
Don't even know what they are. Once we had the exhaust in properly, so we didn't have to go on track with an exhaust held up by a cable tie, Jono came around and welded up a bracket for us to bolt it to.